With Dennis Andries trying to become the oldest man ever to win a British title. Don't believe he's 48, he's 41 in fact. He came into the ring to the sound of the Beatles When I'm 64 to fight for the vacant British Cruiserweight title against Denzil Browne. Andries roughed up Browne all the way. We're going to pick it up in round 7 now, and Dennis Andries going very strongly, wearing the blue trunks.
Round 7.
7th round. It's a kind of air of confidence, wasn't there, Jim? I thought in Andrews' corner at the end of that round. A little bit more concern probably in Browne's corner.
The quality punches in the last couple of rounds have come from Andries. Browne is punching at Andries' defence, if you like. It's as though he's throwing punches to keep Andries away rather than to inflict some damage. He has to step in and get some snap into his shots. Andries is still throwing good shots.
Knows how to pace himself, Andries, Jim, doesn't he?
Well, that was a right hand.
Yeah, as I said, he was waiting for that one, wasn't he?
We'll see how Browne reacts to that. And you have to give the man credit. That's his second thumping right hand he's taken, but not flinched. Andries punching definitely a better quality. Browne is the man who really has to come up with something better.
Championship vacated actually by Carl Thompson of Manchester. Oh, and again he's measuring that well. He's finding the distance with that, Jim.
See, I think Browne may be feeling a little bit tired now. I mean, these punches weren't catching him earlier on.
He's talking to him, Andries, interrupting you, sorry. I almost heard what he said, but you were talking to me at the time. Referee will have to stop that.
Andries is throwing the same punches, Reg. He's not throwing them any quicker, but they're beginning to land. I think Browne maybe just feeling the pace. There's another one, just missed his whisker. Well, Browne certainly showing, Reg, that he deserves to be in there.
Oh, absolutely.
But Andries still controlling the pace, and if you allow Dennis Andries to do that, then you're never going to turn him back.
He always unloads those punches on the rope, but Browne's done well. That's 2 or 3 times he's managed to turn Andries.
And it's still a defensive battle that he's waging there. Still Andries.
He's really soaking that. They're going in there and save for the bell there. Round 8 now. Andries going for it. He almost had his man at the hook, on the hook there at the end of the 7th. And the way they were talking there in Andries' corner, as though he says, well, I've got it ready now, I'm going to unload a bit. And Denzil Browne from Leeds, she hasn't fought past the 8th round anyway. Not that he's had to, but it's his first 12-rounder. He pops quite well at times too, Denzil Browne. A little bit one-paced, but this superior strength and, of course, wealth of experience with Andries. Now he won the World Championship in Australia, in England, then in America, and then in Australia, and that takes a bit of doing. He's completed 12 rounds 11 times, Dennis Andries. Just hasn't got the power, Browne, to keep this follow. He's just shaking his head there. Look, Andries, that won't help you.
See, Andries is stepping right in with his punches, getting his full body weight into it. His punch is far more of an impact. Browne trying to pick away at long range, but Andries coming through his punches.
Yeah, almost comparative arm strength punches, Browne, Jim.
Yeah, I mean at times Browne, he's getting some nice punches together. That's a nice little burst of punches, but too often he's been aiming towards Andries' defence. He's been punching Andries' gloves rather than getting through to target. Andries, for me, much more accurate punches. Towards the end of the round again, or towards the middle, Andries too strong.
Yeah, no, he's got enough time here, Jim, if he can keep this up.
The longer the rounds go, the more trouble Browne finds himself in. He's just feeling very, very tired. Andries too strong.
Talking away there as well to the referee and the opponent, Andries. Such a committed fighter as Dennis Andries.
It must be demoralising when you catch the man with your best shots and he just comes right through them. And you know he's going to continue to do that.
Tell you what, Jim, Browne's brave enough. He's taking some good shots.
He's boxed very wise, very sensibly at times. Just a little bit more power is what he needed.
Round 11, and Dennis Andries undeniably ahead on points there, was caught with the thumb of the glove. Not intentional, I certainly didn't think that by Denzil Browne, but he really was in trouble for a while there, protecting himself, Andries.
And it's given Browne a new lease of life. I mean, he marched out at the start of the 11th round. I don't know how long this is going to last, but he really marched out as though he started fancying the job again.
Well, we've had two occasions now that it looked as though Andries was going to stop Browne, but give him full credit, Jim. I mean, he's been under fire. He's had nosebleed almost from the beginning of the fight, Browne, and he's fought so bravely. And as you say, got an almost lease of life. But this fellow, I mean, he's like the old tiger and the lion, waiting to spring all the time, Andries, isn't he?
We'll have to see if Browne has the recovery powers now to come back from this attack. These punches are getting through here. Yep, will he be able to once again come back? Looks like it. Here he comes. Really showed a lot of qualities. So look at the legs. Nothing left in those legs. Look at the way he backed off.
There's a bit of lead in those.
That's just
first long distance fight.
That's just exhaustion. That's not the round of punches. Browne is so brave.
Right on top of him there, referee Paul Thomas.
Browne doesn't seem to have anything left.
Yep. Pushing him off there. He's letting him go on now. He wants to give this fellow Browne every chance. He's so brave. But on the other hand, Jim, I think he's priming himself to dive in there, Paul Thomas, although he wouldn't like to do it if it was in the last round, I suspect.
A couple of clean shots, Reggie, will finish this job, I think.
Yeah, right above us here in the commentary. But there it is. He's in. I thought he had to. In the 11th round. And there's the record. The oldest man in British history now at any weight, Dennis Andries. 41. Well, maybe going on 48, he said, but that was kidding, no doubt about that. Played into the ring by the Beatles when you're 64, but he doesn't fight like an old man, Dennis Andries. Got the Lonsdale belt again, and I'll tell you what, the old boy, he'll do a George Foreman, he'll be knocking on the door of another world championship, and he's already won 3. Here's the end, Jim. The legs had gone. The heart was always there, but the legs had started to go there.
Yeah, and Browne comes out of this fight, Reg, with a lot of credit. Because these punches didn't go on the floor, but nothing at all left but his courage and his pride. Referee picked the perfect time to call it off.
Yep, he didn't take a knockdown. He stood up all the time, Browne. And, well, it depends on whether he recovers well from this fight. But he can always come again, a fellow with this ability. And you only meet guys like Andries once in a lifetime.
See, Andries gets the full body weight behind every punch, especially when he has his man in trouble and he can tee off. And these are not tidy shots, but they're thumping, powerful shots.
Thumping and powerful, the oldest man to win a British title since back in 1906. Dennis Andries. I thought they could have stopped that fight a little bit earlier, but a great performance nonetheless.